Hey there guys, I just wanted to make a quick video showing the differences between the three different GPD Pocket 2 models and which one is probably best for you. The reason I'm making this video is when I bought mine about 6 months ago, I had to do all the research myself and I thought it would have been nice to just have a YouTube video to watch and tell me the differences. So here I am, that's what we're going to be doing today. So real quick, if we go onto GPD's website and go to their products tab, they have the Pocket 2 Silver and the Pocket 2 Amber Black. I will say, regardless which one you click, it's going to take you to the same page. Um, and honestly, their spec page is a little outdated. So I'm just going to try and make this video short and sweet. Let's cover the first model. This is the first model that they released, not necessarily in black, but the first spec. So this is going to be probably the lowest of the low. It's still very impressive for what it is, but compared to the top of the line model, it's not that great. So this one you're getting a Celeron 3965Y, which is only dual core. It does not support hyperthreading, so you're only getting 2 cores, 2 threads. Not that great. You are getting 8 gigs of RAM, which is decent. And one change that they made after this model you actually have a lot better storage. With this model, you're getting a 256 gig SSD. I don't know the speed because I don't own this model, but I have heard it's quite a bit faster. So if you're not interested in gaming and if you just want something to, just watch movies on or some kind of media center, I would recommend getting this version, considering it is the cheapest. But then again, do not expect gaming because you're not getting hyperthreading. It's a Celeron and it's not that great. Um, so the next model, which is going to be the M37Y30 processor, quite a step up from the Celeron. There's quite a bit of differences though. So of course the main difference is going to be the processor. This one they also changed the amount of RAM to 4 gigs. So you're getting half the RAM, and the way this processor works, it's a mobile processor, and the VRAM is shared with the system RAM. So again, if you're looking at playing games, this one is better than the Celeron, but not by much, especially because you're going to be sharing that system RAM. So if you're allocating 2 gigs to your GPU, that means you're only going to have 2 gigs to your system, and that's not that great because Windows already takes at least maybe 3 gigs of RAM. It's not that great. Um, they also downgraded the storage to 128 gigs of non-SSD storage. This is a eMMC, so this is something more of the lines of a SD card. You do get quite a bit better performance than an SD card, but it's still not amazing, especially considered to the initial SSD that's in the black model. Um, this one also has a slightly brighter screen, not that much brighter, but it is a little brighter. So let's jump into the last model, which is going to be the best model and also the one that I have. Um, there's quite a few differences between this one and the last one. The processor changed again. The processor is only slightly better this time. It's not that big of a jump from the initial Celeron. It's going to be still a mobile processor. It's going to be the 8100Y. I should note that this one and the one before that I mentioned both support hyperthreading. So this one you're looking at dual core 4 threads, which is a lot better than the 2 core 2 threads for the Celeron. This one they jumped back up to 8 gigs of RAM. So this one you're not really worrying about having to allocate your GPU memory and balancing your system memory. You still have the 120 gigs of eMMC. That's not to say that you don't have expandable storage with the SD slot, um, but you are going to be paying a pretty penny for a large SSD that has very fast write speeds. And it's not that great. It's nothing compared to an SSD or even a mechanical hard drive, but it's still not bad considering the size. You're also getting Intel graphics, which you're getting across the board. However, this model has the best Intel graphics, the best RAM, and the best processor. So we're going to jump into the processor comparison real quick. So we're going to start off on the Celeron. Like I said, so this one was released in 2017, still pretty recent. However, I want you to take note that this one is only $107 recommended from Intel. If we jump to the 8100Y, you see that that has changed quite dramatically from 107 to 281. And I will say that number speaks volumes, especially on the performance. So this one was released quarter 3 of 2018. So that's pretty recent. The 7Y30, 2016, still kind of recent. They're all pretty recent. However, the difference between these two, the top and the bottom, is huge. So Celeron, right? You've got 2 cores, 2 threads, a base clock of 1.5 gigahertz. Again, it's a mobile processor, not supposed to be that impressive. If we step up to the 7Y30, you see we have still 2 cores, but then we jump up to 4 threads because we support hyperthreading. Your base frequency is 1 gigahertz, but don't let that say anything to you. These all are very overclockable um, processors, so the 1 gigahertz does not really mean anything, to be honest. Um, the turbo on the 7Y30 is up to 2.6 gigs, which is quite the increase. Celeron, I don't know if it supports turbo, but Intel's website does not say anything about turbo. And then the 8100Y, again, we got that 2 cores, hyperthreading, 1.1 gigahertz as compared to 1 gigahertz, which is not that big of a difference, honestly. However, the turbo is 3.4, which 3.4 from 2.6 is a pretty big jump. We got a stock TDP of 5 watts, I think, all across the board. No, so this one's 4.5, and the Celeron is going to be 6. So, ironically, the Celeron is going to be drawing more power, even though it's the weakest of the three. The TDP, if you don't know what TDP is, it's basically the equivalent of um, feeding your processor more power in turn for heat and more performance. Um, so the lower the TDP, that usually means it runs cooler and uses less power. But if you're looking for gaming, you want high TDPs and you want to overclock and run that real high. It's going to drain the battery, but it'll give you lots of performance. So Intel's website says that the configurable TDP up is 8 watts for the 8100Y. I will say that is not your max TDP. I have ran my 8100Y all the way to 14 TDP with no issues. And it was completely stable. I mean, it was very hot, but it still ran perfect. 7Y30 has a configurable TDP up of 7 watts, and the Celeron, it doesn't really say much. So I don't know too much about overclocking the Celeron. So let's jump to the next difference, which is going to be the graphics. So I believe all across the board you're getting the UHD 615. Actually, no, you're not. So the 8100Y has this U. I don't know what the U means, but I know that the frequencies are slightly different. So this is going to be the UHD graphics 615 with a base of 300 megahertz and a max of 900. We jump to 7Y30. It's relatively the same. I don't know the differences actually between the UHD and the HD 615. But if we jump down to the Celeron, you can already see there's a huge difference. Actually, not that huge difference. The only difference, honestly, is the max frequency is from 850 rather than 900. But then again, with the 7Y30 model, you've got that 4 gigs of shared memory, and you got to balance all of it. The other two models, the Celeron and the 8100Y, you've got 8 gigs, so you've got plenty of RAM compared to the 4 gigs on the 7Y30. So, in conclusion, the best way to put it is that if you're looking for gaming, go to 7Y30. It's going to be worth the additional 200. Yes, you're not getting the SSD, but you are getting a significantly better processor, a better screen, and that's about it. If you are not looking for gaming and you just want something to take with you to, watch movies on, or, take on your camping trip to, I don't know, hook it up to a projector and show all your friends, I would recommend getting the Celeron model because it is $200 cheaper. And you also get that bigger storage with a faster drive. Um, there are not very many situations where I would recommend the 7Y30 model, especially considering that they're harder to find than the 8100Y, and because of that, they're more expensive. Because this one, you do have a better processor than the Celeron, but you also have 4 gigs of RAM, and you also have a 128 gig MMC rather than the SSD. So I hope this video helped you guys. If any of you are looking at any of these models and have any further questions, um, just drop it in the comments or message me, and I will see if I can help you. And hopefully, I will make some videos on my 8100Y, some simple overclocking guides to get you guys up to speed on some pretty good performance. And yeah, that's about it. So hope you guys like this guide. Hope it helped you. I will see you guys later.